Welcome everybody to Social Cafe on Tuesday night, whatever the time is in your time zone, but we're half past the o'clock. As you recall, we do the Twitter chat the first 30 minutes, kind of like it's the mingling time where we get ready for the show at the half past. And tonight, joining us, we have Ted Coine from Meddle.it. Welcome, Ted.
Hey. How are you, Deb? Hello. Community, Social Cafe community.
Very good, very good. Especially since we've chatted twice and keeping track of which one we're on. I've been known to kind of switch them. Like, this is Web Tools TV, which I'm really glad that we had an opportunity to meet each other on Web Tools TV and chat about some of these topics. We're going to go a little bit deeper tonight.
Awesome.
And let's start. Ted, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and about tell us about your book first before we go on to Meddle.it?
Sure. I wrote a book with a pretty red cover. So. It's a world gone social, how companies must adapt to survive. And in it, we talk about all the changes that occur as a result of the social age, which we are in now. It's a leadership manual for people who are trying to navigate their way in this social age of ours, which is very different from the industrial age.
Yes, yes. So we're in the... Well, you know, what year did we switch over, would you say, to our new age, not new age, but as far as the...
Yeah, it is, yeah. Not new age like where's the zither, but it is a new age of business. It's about 2008 is when enough people were on social that the companies lost all control of spin. And everyone has been talking to each other. You know, in the book we focus a lot on customers talking to each other, and sometimes either to the benefit or the detriment of companies, and also of employees talking to each other, and past employees and prospective employees, and again, sometimes to the benefit, sometimes to the detriment of companies. Really, when you think about it, the communities talking to each other about your company, regulators are monitoring the conversation and jumping in there. There is not one. If I made a list of a dozen different groups that are talking to each other about your company, I'd still be missing out on some of them. There's more than a dozen, I'm sure. And the worst thing is if they're not talking about you. That's even worse than if they're saying things and maybe, oh my God, are they saying the right things? If
like no credit.
That's just death.
I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny, but it reminds me of the no credit, you know, versus good credit, bad credit. I don't know if bad credit's better than no credit, but no credit's not very good either.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, just like you get penalized for not participating in the credit economy, you get penalized by not participating in the social economy. If people are talking about the things that they want to buy, the things that impress them, the experiences that they have, and you're not part of that conversation, then either they're talking about you anyway and you're not participating, that could be really troublesome, or they're not talking about you at all. They're talking about your competitors and they're leaving you out. And both of those scenarios are just horrible.
They are. You know, I was listening to you and I was thinking about something I saw on Hulu Plus or whatever last night. We were watching, and all of a sudden this cute gal, you know, the first time I saw it, I'm thinking, this is really odd. Like, is she really doing this? But it was what turned out to be a YouTube commercial, I believe. I could be wrong. But this gal, and I don't know if you've seen it, this gal gets on there and then, you know, she walks from her bedroom to the bathroom and part of her door falls off and you're like, who is this? She's kind of klutzy, but she's kind of cute. Like, I want to see this. Like reality TV via YouTube. And I thought, okay, she's got to be trust fund baby, paid a lot of money to Hulu Plus to advertise. And I wish I knew her name, and I'm sorry. But then I saw another one just like it, and I thought, no, wait, this looks like a YouTube thing. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like you feel connected to this common person. Unlike a reality TV that's, you know, the Kardashians and this big production, it's like the normal person on YouTube, and it's like this is on what we view as TV.
Right. That's really weird. I never watch TV. The closest we come to watching TV is sometimes we'll select a show and we'll, you know, watch it on like Netflix, or we'll get the whole season on Amazon at one time. So I miss commercials and stuff like that on purpose because it'll eat your brain and it'll eat too much of your life. But no, that's really interesting because really, you know, we all have cameras. Like, look at Meerkat. Now, Meerkat is out there. We can live stream things right onto Twitter. Like, how cool is that? And I'm sure, I guarantee you that by this time next year, there will be a dozen other services that we have not even discovered yet that are just making video more a part of everything around us. And yeah, people want real people. People, even our business leaders, we want them, or our political leaders too, we want them to be real people.
Definitely.
We don't want them to be all stiff and formal and scripted and made up and everything else. It's not. We can't identify with stuff like that.
Exactly. And hey, Con, you come from a corporate background. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because you recently retired from corporate, right? So you were kind of in that transition.
I recently left Johnson & Johnson. I retired, and they were struggling with social media. Naturally, when it came out, they wanted to be hip and show everybody they were doing it. So what happened? They formed committees, and they delegated responsibility for everything down to lower levels. And the chairman would periodically, he had his blog, and then every executive had to have a blog. But the quality of what you had on those blogs was laughable. There was no real social media presence dealing with customers. Now maybe down at the product level they're maybe working on that now. But large companies, from my experience at Johnson & Johnson and friends of mine who work at comparable corporations, seem to really struggle with having a voice out there. Whereas, my little company, which is just myself, I seem to have a lot more genuine interactions with people than I ever saw with Johnson & Johnson and its customers.
Yeah. It's incredible to me that on the one hand, you have corporations are way out ahead of the others in adoption of cool tools, of using analytics, and they're kind of blazing paths. On the with content media, they're ahead. A lot of small businesses are trying to catch up now, which is nice. But on the other hand, whenever you talk about an example like this, and they come up many times a day, where large companies are not ready to engage because it's so different from what they do. It's remarkable to me, like with employees. Let's get our employees to share their networks, because it turns out that employees of a company have 4 to 6 times the number of followers, connections, Facebook friends, etc., that the company does. So let's leverage those employees' networks. Well, guess what? You know what? If your employees don't like working there, that's a bad idea. If your employees haven't been trained how to use social, that's a bad idea. If you're just feeding them marketing gobbledygook to destroy the trust that their networks provide you, that's a bad idea. That's why we have Meddle, because instead of feeding them things from the corporate, monolith, this is our scripted message, you say, okay, let's train you guys on how to use social media. We'll give it to you on training wheels so you can get started that way. Let's get you started showing how smart you are, and let's brag about our employees. It's a flip. It's besides, there's no committee, there's no command and control messaging. It's, we've got intelligent people. Let's give them the tools they need to build their personal brand. And by doing that, they're building our brand. We get to brag about how smart our people are. Johnson & Johnson employs tens of thousands of intelligent people. Let's give them a voice. To note to self, call Johnson & Johnson tomorrow. Let's give them a voice. Yeah, I know. No, but let's give them a voice so that they can represent themselves. And in representing themselves, they're building our brand. And people will know us as a wonderful, trustable, trustworthy company, and they'll buy from us instead of from somebody else.
That's brilliant as far as bridging that, because I've worked for companies where it's like you work for the company and you have to share their blog post, and you look at it and go, that is, I'm not going to name any companies, but it's like, that's some crappy writing, and I don't want to actually share that on my networks. They're going to think I endorse it, and yes, I sort of endorse it because it's a company, but I sort of don't endorse it because it's really, bad grammar, the whole thing. Well, I use the word crap on whatever on there, but that is so brilliant that there's a way to bridge that so that the individual skills and talents can come across as far as the people and still benefit the employees and the company.
And here's the thing, even if the quality of the writing on those corporate blogs is good, and there's plenty of them that are, about 60% of corporations stop right there. They say, okay, here is our corporate blog where we talk about our own products in a favorable light. We ignore the competition or we trash it, and it's completely biased. So, and then let's give this stuff to our employees to share with their networks. Meanwhile, your employees are very happy to brag about what a great company they work for and what great work the company is doing, but they don't want to poison the well of their personal networks by feeding them junk from the PR spin. Here is how wonderful our company is because our marketers told me to share this with you. What? Stop that. And then a lot of the technology out there, it's very frustrating for me actually. I feel bad for the state of the art right now because a lot of the companies out there are buying software that does the exact same thing. So, all right, great. We've got these people with these networks. Let's leverage it with software. Let's feed them these pre-made tweets with a link to our site with our corporate message. Well, and then you have hundreds or maybe thousands of the same exact tweet going out from different individuals working for the same company. No putting it in your own words. No finesse, fine point, no human touch to it at all. And then you get the parroting effect. Do you really want thousands of tweets a day going out from your employees that are exactly the same? Yikes! Of course you don't. And fortunately, to their credit, I've talked to some corporate leaders who say, yeah, this software that enables us to do this is great. There is a problem with it. We understand that. But we love it. It's like, okay,
we love it.
Make up your mind. You love it, or there's this problem with it. You can't have them both. So the nice thing about Meddle is, you get, say you have 10 people, 10,000, writing their thoughts, sharing that with their corporate, with their personal networks. And then if they, they read something on Forbes.com, they create a Meddle, they give their 5 sentences as to why this is a quality article, why it reminds them of some of the work they're doing with their company, some of their client work, some of their past work, some of their leadership experience, whatever the case. They share that with their network. Now, they can just leave it on Meddle and build the Meddle platform, and that's nice of them. That's wonderful. But if they instead, we white label this for companies. So if they put it on the company's website, then all the traffic is going back to the company website. And rather than the corporate blog, which is, oh, we're great, we're one-sided, this is our message, have dozens, hundreds, even thousands of different messages from your smart employees that are, of course, pre-approved by a social media, manager.
Committee.
No. Yeah, not a committee, I hope. But no, you have a manager just to make sure. Okay, this is a good post, but it's off our message. So it's personal. It's about somebody's vacation or something like that. So we're not going to put that on our corporate site. The ability to do that is important for companies, right? But having a live feed, we were working with one company, it's called Opera Solutions. They just started using Meddle a couple of weeks ago. These are a bunch of engineers, 500 really intelligent data scientists and
wow.
Yeah, exactly, experts in their field. No experience blogging, and they don't want to become bloggers. They've got a job, right? They've got a day job, and they don't have 5 hours to write a blog post. But training 10 people at a time, the social media manager working with the Meddle trainers, we're able to take 10 people the first week, 10 more the second week. I think we're on our 3rd week, so that's a total of 30 people writing very, very modest, gradual, incremental, bringing people online. And now they have several new posts every day. Fresh content made by intelligent people about the things in their field. Wow, that's great. Whereas before, their corporate blog, and this is what happens with a small to mid-sized business, 500 employees, their last blog post was in October. I think it was October 14th. Now they have.
You say 2012. No.
No, but 2014, October, that's pretty bad. You want to have a lot of fresh content so people come to rely on you as a source of information and news. And instead October. So now they have several new blog posts that just went out today. and they'll have several more that go out tomorrow. And over time, as they go from 10 to 20 to 30 to, maybe 100 of their 500 employees will participate in this. These people are building their personal brand. They get to feel good that their company's proud of them, and they're building their corporate brand because it's right there on a page tied to the corporate blog. Just
exactly.
Yeah, it's really cool watching this happen. I love it. I love being part of a company that is, enabling companies to be real, companies to be proud of their employees, show their pride, and employees to build their own careers while they happen to have a little bit of fun and build the company brand.
Exactly. Ted, it seems like Meddle.it is a pioneer in this area. I'm not sure that there's any other tool. I mean, there might be. There's thousands, millions of tools out there, I'm sure, but that does it exactly. Maybe not the actual tool itself, but as far as, like you said, building the brand of the person as well as the brand of the company all in one fell swoop. Are you pretty much?
I mean, they're right now. As far as I know, Meddle is the only thing that allows you to make kind of basically a blog post in 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes, write 5 sentences, move on with your life. So that's actually why I was so excited about Meddle, because when we were writing A World Gone Social, we had our content marketing chapter 13. This is not a marketing book, it's a leadership book, but we had our content marketing chapter in there, and damn, I left Meddle out. So because I'd never heard of it before. So then 2 months later, I discovered Meddle and start using it for a couple of weeks, and I said to the CEO, and he said to me, hey, let's work together. So, but Meddle is, yes, cutting edge in this area. For individuals to build their own brand, I mean, there's a million ways to do it. I personally have been blogging since 2006. I wrote my first book in 2005. A friend set me up on Blogger in 2006. Thankfully, I had no idea how to do that at the time. It's really easy, but I had no idea. That's where I was in 2006.
We all have to start somewhere.
Exactly. And I guarantee you, my first blog posts, most of them stank, and that's okay. I was learning, but still, this thing, writing a blog post takes a long time. And if you let it sit for a day, which is probably wise before hitting publish, if you can stop yourself and delay gratification like that, you come back to it and you say, oh man, that did not read the way that I had meant it to. Let me tweak this. And overall, it takes me roughly 5 hours for a blog post, sometimes 3, sometimes a little bit more than 5, but that's probably a good average, is 5 hours. Who has 5 hours? And the thing is, I used to commit to one of these a week, and sometimes you can ask, ask my regular readers. Sometimes when I have a lot on my mind, I write several a week. That's a lot of hours to dedicate to building your personal brand. Now, because of Meddle, I have written 6 posts since the middle of November. 6. That's
6 posts as far as not using
Meddle.
Meddle.
And then Meddles, I try to write 1 a day. Sometimes I'll write 2 or 3 a day. Sometimes I'll skip a day. So I need to build up my own consistency there. But I'm averaging maybe 5 Meddles a week, because in, out, move on with your life.
And you don't even have to budget that time. Like right now, when I write articles, I write a lot of articles, and it's like I look at my calendar, and I have to actually block out budget, like those 5-hour blocks. You don't have to budget the 5 minutes. It's almost a task.
Exactly. So, so Deb, God, you guys know, you're reading an article, it makes you think, and you can write a comment on the website, and, you're building the website's brand. You're not really adding to your own personal brand at all. No one's ever going to see that again. Let's face it, even the person who wrote the article, even the other people writing comments aren't going to read your comment, because comments stink, and we all know that. There's a lot of cranks out there writing a lot of junk, so we don't read comments. So rather than do that, yeah, and it's unfortunate, actually. So I'm joking about this. It's unfortunate because there are a lot of really good conversations that I have in the comments of my own posts when I stir up some conversation. It's a great thing. And sometimes I'll hop in a conversation on somebody else's post that's a really good, active, dynamic community. But these are rare. If you go to Forbes.com or Huffington Post, heaven forbid, and you read the comment sections there could be sometimes hundreds of comments. You're building HuffingtonPost.com, and God bless them, but that's not really benefiting you in any way. So instead, you read an article, and it makes you think, and it makes you say, wow, this is really great. I want to share this with my community, but I want to put some context around it, because if you don't explain to people why they should read it, then, why should they read it? So Meddle allows you to just highlight something in the article that you liked. You put some context around it, just add a few sentences to tell people why they should read it, to tell people what it made you think. And adding that, it's your own intellectual property. So you are building your brand. You're showing yourself off. You're showing the world that you have something important to say. And some of us have something more interesting to say than others, and some of us write on different topics. So, for instance, the business stuff I write, my wife would just pull out her hair and die if somebody put a gun to her head and told her that she needed to read business. It's just not her thing. And she's a Sunday school teacher. Some of her stuff is not my thing. It's cool. Yeah, I know. I married a Sunday school teacher.
That's cute. That's business in the Sunday school. And I'm trying to think what age, like 5-year-old Sunday school.
It's really funny because
Noah's Ark,
when we married each other, we were each other's drinking buddies. Like, that was my drinking partner. And
I think we need to have another interview, Ted, on just the history, more of a personal interview.
We slowed down a little bit. So now I'm a boring business guy who's a nursery, Sunday school teacher. But anyway, enough about me and my wife. Back to building your brand. You do this quickly. You share it on, Meddle. You build up a body of work over time. And let me tell you something. Just since November, I have created so many medals that it's probably like a third of a book right there.
Wow.
A little bit of it. It's painless.
Wow. Hey, Con, now that we've heard Ted describe this and put it in context of business, what do you think as far as Johnson & Johnson, if this had been there while you were at Johnson & Johnson?
Well, Johnson & Johnson is a very peculiar culture, and I think any of these large organizations, you've got to deal with that. When I was with them, they were under a consent decree with the FDA. Lawyers were the only group of employees that they were hiring on a regular basis. I think that while the tool concept was fantastic, I think for an environment where they really want to control everything, I think that they would be looking at ways to I think Johnson & Johnson would look at Meddle as a way to be able to try to control the message better. I'm not so sure you would necessarily get any different quality there. I think an organization like, say, Ernst & Young, a consulting firm I used to be associated with, and they're moving into social media, I think they would be able to use Meddle more along the way that Ted is saying, where they're encouraging people to go out there and to have an opinion. They're encouraging people to talk on topics, again, that are relevant to the employees, relevant to the clients. I have friends who I know professionally from Deloitte, a similar thing, where they're looking at social media and they're trying to encourage people to go out there, and see the senior partners even engaging with the tool. So I think it's going to depend on your community. And the two examples I cited that were most open to this are companies that really make their living on their intellectual capital. Ernst & Young, Deloitte. Whereas you get into a highly regulated business like healthcare, I think there might be some hesitancies. I work with small clients who are financial advisors, and they're paranoid about the fact they're in a regulated industry. And I'm always trying to tell them that, look, yeah, there are regulations that tell you can't do these things, but there are other things that you can do, and it's interesting.
That's my background as far as financial industry, and for some reason, I think it's because there wasn't a role, but as director of IT, I was designated as like the compliance person for social media, so I had to go investigate this and actually police the partners to say you can put that on LinkedIn, you can't put that on LinkedIn. But it would seem that with the education, and Ted, that's something that you mentioned as far as actually training people how to do the social media for a regulated industry like the financial industry, you just it's an educational process so they understand what they can post, what they can comment.
Right, exactly. And so here's the thing. If you give people free financial advice online, you're setting yourself up for trouble. If you make claims about the drugs that you're selling that are if you're not careful about that, you're going to put yourself in trouble, right? There are things you don't want to do. If you work for the CIA, you might want to avoid Meddle entirely. You just might. However, these situations are rare. Mostly, even if you are a financial advisor, there are plenty of financial advisors who give advice. They need training. They need to know where the guardrails are. You do. That's why social media training is so valuable, especially in regulated industries. Just, people are generally honest and will not try to get themselves or their company in trouble. I mean, generally, it's rare that somebody's either stupid or malicious like that. Occasionally, but it's rare. But you have to tell them, like, okay, this is how we do it. This is not how we do it, and that's why the regulatory feature on the approving feature on Meddle is really valuable, especially when people get started. Because if you're a company that's really uptight about control, let's be honest. If you're uptight about control, you're not comfortable just saying, hey, let's have a free for all. Completely respect that. You let people produce their medals. You can the social media manager can tweak them as she likes or he likes, and then if there's like a grammar mistake or something, clean that up before you're sending to press. Or maybe everything's beautiful and you just need to make sure, okay, this one's on, this one's on, this one's on. Okay, this post was a little off. We're not going to prove it because it's not really on topic for what we're trying to present. That happens with Opera Solutions. It happens and nobody is upset about it. They all know the ground rules going in. It's like totally cool. They're presenting things that are off topic, and it's okay. But having that ability, then as people get comfortable, as they get their feet under them, as they become from abject beginner to medium to expert, as they become expert producing content and interacting online, maybe you say, okay, this person gets a free pass. It's up to the company as to how they want to regulate that themselves.
And you actually are providing the management so that they can do that. So, for example, in the, Con brought this up as far as thinking about the measure of control, for example, that Johnson & Johnson and companies like that would want. And then my reference to, the financial industry. So in that case, could have said, hey, guys, I'm going to watch your LinkedIn, not because I want to, but because I've been told by the director to do this. I'm going to watch your LinkedIn, and I'm going to watch your medals. And in that way, we can also use it as a continuous process improvement as we start working in social media.
Yeah. I mean, what's better than to have somebody who's experienced? I used to swim, and I was a terrible, terrible swimmer when I started. I had a coach. And then I became a really good swimmer, and I still needed a coach. But my coach provided, different levels of correction for me. Let's put it that way. And then I was able to, help others and give them some advice, the newbies on the team, the new swimmers, younger kids, that type of thing. And so think about that also from the perspective of, a company. You get people who've been doing this a while who are very comfortable. Having that peer-to-peer mentorship, that's a great way to build camaraderie. It's a great way to, build internal reputations. And, this is just one really fun way to do it.
That's beautiful. That's the reason I went into IO psychology. So the whole camaraderie, team building, and all of this. So that's beautiful. Boy, I really don't like that we are down to 1 minute. So we talk really, really fast. But before I do that, Ted, I wanted to ask you if you could tell us about the giveaway that we have. And guys, if you're wondering about the giveaway, it's actually already up, but Ted's about to explain what it is that you receive if you win. To get there, you can go to socialcafechat.com, click on the Twitter calendar, go to April 21st, which will be on that page there because it is April 21st. Click on that, and you'll see the giveaway right at the top of the post there so you can enter. Now, that said, Ted, what do they win if they win the giveaway?
I have a huge stack of my books, and I'd like to get some out of my office. So,
I want one.
as long as it's somebody within the continental U.S., I will, or I guess the U.S. I will autograph it and mail it to you. And I can't wait to share the book with your community, because I love hearing what people like, what people think could be added on, or it's really nice getting feedback on something that you work so hard for.
Excellent. Thank you for doing that, and thank you for participating in Social Cafe. Con, it seemed like, did you have a question?
No, I'm good right now. I just want to thank Ted for joining us and sharing his experiences and his product.
Yes, thank you, Ted, for joining Social Cafe community. This video will be available for replay, so you can watch it, and also post-production. So I will send out a tweet letting everyone know that that's available. And Ted, people looking for you on the internet, how do they find you?
Go to my new blog, open4.business. It's just the word open, the word FOR dot business spelled out. That's our new blog.
Cool.
And there you'll see links to, you'll be able to link to me on Twitter, LinkedIn, and all that stuff, but you'll also see links to Meddle. You'll see a little bit about what it's about. You'll see a free chapter of my book. If you didn't win the giveaway, you can still get a free chapter of the book anytime on Open for Business. I'll just give them one spot to find me. It's kind of everything in one place.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for joining us and telling us about Meddle as well as yourself and your wife. And everyone, join in next week, same time, same place, for another interview with a CEO.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Good evening. Take care, everyone.
Oh, I'm going to interrupt myself. I didn't mention this one, but some of the tweets that said CRO instead of CMO. Ted is the Chief Marketing Officer of Meddle. Chief Relationship Officer is what I sent out, but I thought that was interesting because I think Chief Relationship Officer is a part of the overall marketing with engagement. So Ted is everything as it relates to to the engagement at Meddle.
As long as it isn't writing code.
Okay.
Nobody wants you to do that.
All right. Okay, PS done, and we are out of here. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in to Social Cafe.
Be safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.